Hi there, I'm Mike Ernst, and this is the first chapter of the Introduction to InDesign for Planners course, part of Planners and Courses. And in this series, we'll be covering Adobe InDesign, which is part of a package of software called Adobe Creative Suite. It includes other programs like Illustrator and Photoshop that are commonly used by planners. So why should you consider learning InDesign? Well, it's the industry standard, not only in the planning world, but in any design-related world. You'll find that Adobe InDesign is the standard for doing document production. It's an incredibly useful tool for planners, so you can create graphically rich plans, flyers, postcards, posters, and has all sorts of uses for planners who are working on any sort of variety of projects. It's a complex program, so you can do simple things like straightforward postcards, but you can also use it for creating and putting together very complex documents with all sorts of chapters. And it has a lot of tools that you can continuously find new things to do with the program. Creative Suite 6 is the most recent version of Adobe Creative Suite and includes some really cool updates to InDesign. Now, throughout this series, I'll be using Creative Suite 6, but most of the fundamentals of InDesign haven't changed for quite some time. So if you're using an older version of InDesign, don't worry. You'll be able to do almost everything that's covered in this series. And I'll make it a point to point out when I'm using a feature that is new to a more recent version of Creative Suite. So who should consider taking this course? Planners who are interested in learning more about graphic communication, you're the target audience. This course is geared towards helping you learn about how InDesign can improve your job as a planner. We're going to be mainly producing two products over the course of this series. We're going to make a poster and we're going to make a postcard. So these are the end products, and we'll be covering them, how to make them throughout this series. I just want to give a quick overview of the difference between InDesign, Photoshop, and Illustrator. These are all programs that are made by Adobe, and they're all closely related. They all have very useful uses for creating interesting and complex planning documents. Photoshop is primarily a bitmap graphic editor, so it's used to edit raster graphics, which are composed of pixels. This is compared to Adobe Illustrator, which is a vector graphic editor primarily, which is used to edit vector graphics, which are made of shapes and lines. So Photoshop is great for creating photo simulations or for manipulating photos that you've taken with your digital camera. Compare this to Adobe Illustrator, which is great for making logos or making maps or diagrams that have lots of lines and shapes and fills. InDesign ties all these graphics together and is used for document production. So this is the program you're going to use to make your boards or your final plan or your flyer. So you might tie in a lot of graphics that you've made in Photoshop, Illustrator, and other graphic programs to be used in your final product, which you've made in InDesign. But keep in mind there's plenty of overlap, so you can draw vector graphics in InDesign, and you can include bitmap graphics in Illustrator. So these programs are all very incredibly complex, but they do have primary functions. So depending on what you want to learn, you might want to choose which how you want to invest in the program based on what your intended product is. So that's just a quick overview of InDesign and this course. So if you're interested in learning these kind of things, I'd highly encourage you to take it. We'll be covering lots of great things that you could do in InDesign, and this is primarily geared towards planners who want to learn, improve their graphic communication skills. So if that sounds of interest to you, I'd encourage you to take this. Thanks for watching.